Welcome back to the Oktoberfest podcast. I remain your host and describer of the demonic, Jeff, and today I have a couple of special guests. Returning co-host John, and the artist behind the Oktoberfest logo, Heidi.
Hey, Booze.
Last week, we took a field trip to see Stanley Kubrick's 1980 classic, The Shining, and we had thoughts. Enough thoughts that I figured we could do an episode. We're going to try to run things a little different this time, and start right off with a quick rundown of the plot. I'd warn about spoilers, but this movie's a 45-year-old cultural touchpoint. The Shining is the story of the Torrance family, who take up as winter caretakers of the remote Overlook Hotel in late 70s Colorado. Jack, an aspiring writer, takes on the 6-month position of maintaining the isolated resort, hoping to have time to work on his novel, and drags his wife Wendy along to do all the actual work. They bring their 5-year-old son Danny as well, because for some reason it's frowned upon to leave them home alone for half a year at that age. Danny has a bit of the old ESP going on, though, and is warned by his imaginary friend the hotel is no place for kids. The family, of course, goes anyway. While touring the hotel, they meet Dick Halloran, the hotel chef, who also has some psychic going on, and tells Danny it's called The Shining. Roll credits. He tells the boy not to be afraid of things in the hotel, they're just images that can't hurt anyone, because lying to kids is awesome. After a few months stuck together in a place so large they could easily spend weeks without seeing each other, odd things start to happen around the hotel. Danny sees dead girls and is attacked by a crazy ghost lady in a hotel suite. Jack becomes an even bigger asshole and drinks ghost booze. Wendy does all the actual work around the hotel. Eventually, Jack goes full dull boy and tries to kill his family, but Danny lures him into a frozen hedge maze and leaves him there to wander and freeze. Wendy and Danny escape on a snowcat left by sacrificial victim Dick Halloran, who traveled all the way from Miami to make sure his chest didn't miss an appointment with the sharp end of Jack's axe. And the hotel probably falls into disrepair after being left open to the elements in the middle of a snowstorm. That's the quick and dirty rundown, but let's get into a deeper walkthrough.
Hello everyone, I'm John, and I will be kicking us off. Let's get started with the story of The Shining. So we start off long shots of a car driving up a windy road, mountains, mountainous Colorado. It's beautiful, it's green, and this car is just driving up. So it gets to this large, beautiful mountain hotel, resort. Oh, something a little bit older style, but remember this is from the 70s. So we see Jack get out of the car and walk on in. Go ahead and start. Jack Torrance. Yes, thank you.
Our main man.
The only Jack. He's Jack Torrance and Jack Nicholson. Anyway, so he walks up and gets himself into an interview with the general manager of the hotel, Stuart Ullman. They takes him into the back, and we find out that Jack is interviewing to become the winter caretaker for this hotel. This hotel, which shuts down for the winter. Even though it looks like a gorgeous place for skiing or anything along those lines, you just don't have the infrastructure. You can't get up. The road, we saw that road. It was a 2-lane road.
Just can't get it up.
Just can't get it up. And so they shut down for the winter, and some poor family or person is stuck in this hotel, maintaining it to make sure things don't freeze over, whatever. And that's the job that Jack is interviewing for. Now, of course, Jack has a family. He's got a wife. He's got a child, Danny. And what was the wife's name again?
Wendy.
Wendy, thank you.
Played by Shelley Duvall.
Rest in peace.
So we find out that this is what he's going for. Now, of course, to make this appropriate Stephen King, Stuart tells Jack about some of the strange history of this particular hotel and one of the former caretakers who lost it one winter and murdered his wife and family before killing himself. Now, the family included 2 young daughters, which becomes relevant because we meet them at some point. So the other thing that's important here is that we have a little cut from here where we see Jack's son, Danny, talking to his imaginary friend, Tony.
The little boy who lives in this mouth. Duh.
And Danny, to his credit, has done a very nice job of making a super creepy voice.
He's like the OG creepy kid.
Yeah. He goes between normal 8-year-old and...
He's not that old. Is he that old? I don't think he's that old.
7, 6, huh?
I think he's...
6?
I think he's probably close to 6.
Okay, anyway, so young child, young enough to still be very creepy when he goes into croaky Tony voice about why perhaps they don't want to go to this Overlook Hotel.
He's kind of giving him a warning.
Right.
Without
warning.
Telling the parents, I guess.
And when Danny asks why maybe they don't want to go to this hotel, Tony won't tell him until Tony gives him basically a vision of an elevator opening, blood flowing out of it, and then we find out that Danny passed out at that point.
Also an iconic image from that movie.
It is an iconic image from that movie. And so we end up with a doctor checking out Danny, who's now in bed. Mom Wendy is like appropriately concerned, talks to the doctor, starts smoking in the house, which also reminds you that it is late 70s. And we find out from this that while Danny hasn't had very many of these episodes, he's had a little bit of isolation growing up because I don't remember what the reason was, but he didn't seem to get along very well with the other children. And we also learn that
he's a creepy kid.
I think they also said they just moved to town.
They also just moved to Colorado from somewhere else where Jack had been a teacher. Anyway, but the other important part here is that in this conversation with the doctor, we learn that Jack has a history of perhaps losing himself to the drink and has injured the child in the past while in a drunken rage of some sort. And dislocated his shoulder is what I remember. Yeah, he grabbed him, pulled him too hard, pulled his shoulder out. Anyway, so we know that Jack's got maybe a little problem with the drink. But of course, Wendy promises the doctor that he hasn't had a drop in 5 months, which we'll come back to that later. So from there, Jack, of course, accepts the job. He finds that, the story of the previous caretaker is not a problem. His wife, Wendy, at that point, loves horror movies. She'll love it.
He loves solitude.
He loves peace and quiet.
But he doesn't love his wife.
Doesn't explicitly say, but maybe we'll come back to that in a bit.
I think it was obvious in the fucking car ride up the mountain.
We do see then Jack driving up with his family in his piece of shit car from the 70s, and we get the sense that he is actually, yes, definitely still a dick to child and wife. As he keeps going, in just kind of that, it wasn't cruel necessarily, but it was definitely sarcastic asshole moments for him. So anyway, they get into the hotel. At this point, we get our tour through, and Stuart and actually mostly Stuart starts with the tour of the hotel. They're all packing up. Everyone's getting ready to get the hell out of here before the snows start. They start wandering around. We see some great big gold room. We see the gold ballroom. We see some of the iconic areas where Jack ends up setting up his writing desk. We meet their little tiny room.
Colorado Lounge.
Yeah, the Colorado Lounge. And we make it to the kitchen where we meet another important character, which is that of Dick Halloran, who is the chef at the Overlook. Now, Dick shows in the kitchen, right, as you would expect from the chef, which is kind of fascinating to also see that they just leave a larder, a couple, like a meat freezer and a full larder of just like, it's like, you're going to be fine. You'll never run out of food. It's like fascinating.
It's like 32 steaks and 14 turkeys. And
right.
Whatever the hell. There's so much stuff in there.
But also we see that Dick has kind of an interesting interaction with Danny, because he starts calling Danny, what was it, Doc? Which nobody had called Danny Doc to this point in the movie at all. And at some point, Wendy comes in and is like, that's weird. How'd you know we call him Doc? And
he looks like a doc, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like a doc. Anyway, so he makes up a bullshit excuse.
You say it.
Right. We kind of get the sense that actually there's something else going on. And now after Stuart and Jack or whoever else pulls Wendy away, Dick and Danny get to have a little one-on-one time. And this is where we find out that Dick and Danny have sort of this telepathic something kind of ability where they can kind of communicate with each other or with other things, like maybe a haunted hotel. Now, of course, Dick doesn't call it haunted, but he says, it's got some history, and maybe it's got a little shining of its own. And this is, by the way, this is This watch is the only time I actually realized that's why the movie was called The Shining. Because this is me being just obtuse and not having seen it in 20 years. But anyway.
That's what his grandma called the ability, right?
Mhm.
Like the telepathic ability to see ghosts or to communicate inside of other people's minds.
Right. So at that point, they have a little conversation about the hotel and how some of these places can get their own shine. And Danny brings up room 237, which, Dick is like, you don't need to know about that room. Don't talk about that room. Like, leave it alone. It's interesting because, like, in one case it's a warning, but it's not a warning initially from Dick. It's a Danny knows there's something there and asks, and then gets one.
There ain't nothing in that room, but you got no business being in there anyway, so stay out.
Right.
Yep.
And we don't get into that for a little while, of course, but that's about the time, the family moves in, they get comfortable, and life begins in the winter at the Overlook Hotel.
So about, I think like a month or so passes after that, and then, they kind of have this routine where Jack goes and does his work by himself and doing his writing, and basically tells his family to fuck off and leave him alone. And then,
But she does, in fact, actually tell Wendy at some point, correct?
Yeah, she does. So she's kind of doing the thing like, oh, we're going to play outside and we're going to cook stuff. And she brings him his meals and they kind of just play and he gets to play around the hotel. And there's the scene that we probably remember with him on his little trike riding around the empty hallways. And so Danny starts to see like the spooky stuff starts happening. And the visions that he'd had like from when Tony had showed him, the creepy elevator or whatever, start to come back, and he starts to get like, I guess not like his dream manifesting, but he can start to see like the creepiness.
I do think it's important to interject here that the first time Danny sees the twins is not after everybody's left the hotel.
It's still the first time.
While he's on his own the first time he gets to the hotel. They have been with him since he arrived.
In the game room.
In the game room.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right, because he was wandering off to, and they showed up and wanted to play. So, play with us, Daddy.
But it's just visions, right? He's just seeing things at this point. And they're just alone in this hotel. And Jack is working while Wendy is trying to keep them busy and sane.
Oh, this might be important. I think I missed this in the beginning. So Jack was formerly a teacher, but aspired to be a writer. And
right, yes.
One of his goals for this overlooking winter caretaker deal was to write.
Work on his book.
Right. And so we also get the sense, Jack's sleeping until like 10, and maybe it's not going so well.
We don't know how late he's staying up. We never really see him at night.
No.
It's just he's always asleep or tired or haggard at the end of his rope, and he seems to be doing very little because Wendy is clearly the one taking care of the child, and anybody with children knows that there's nothing easy about having a small child.
But she's also apparently doing Jack stuff.
Oh yeah, because she's like down in the boiler room, like making sure shit isn't frozen and taking care of the grounds, and yeah, that's true. So he's supposed to be writing. Hell knows what he's doing. So, room 237 now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Danny's like visions of the two girls and things, creepy stuff kind of escalates. And at one point, he is riding his little trike down the hallway and stumbles across an open door. One of the hotel room doors is open. He looks and there's a key in the door, and hanging on it says room 237. So, does it show him going in? So he goes in. We don't really know what happens. All cuts, and he comes walking back, and he's shaken. He's like got scary trauma, like dead face, and he walks into the lounge. And Wendy and Jack are in there, and Wendy runs up and is like, what are you doing? Like, go upstairs and play. I'll bring lunch. And then she sees that he is disheveled. He's scared. He's got bruises on his neck. His clothing's torn, and she obviously freaks out. she's concerned if there's somebody in the hotel. So I don't remember if she searches first or if she yells at Jack first.
So
She yells at Jack first.
So they're having a conversation about how Jack doesn't look well, doesn't seem to feel well, and Jack is trying to open up at this point, and like, I just don't feel like himself, right? And she wants to take care of him at this point, and then Danny shows up with these bruises, and she turns on him and says, "You did this to him, didn't you?"
I mean, there's nobody else in the hotel.
Exactly.
So she thinks maybe he, found some drink somehow, which, to jump back to before, they were walking around in the gold room, and they said, "Oh, we have a full bar, but not while you're here, because we take all the spirits out. Well,
For
all
insurance.
the liquor out, the spirits." But, so, forgot those. But, so Jack doesn't have an opportunity, as far as they're aware, to consume alcohol. So, but I think she just assumes, given what had happened, there's nobody else in this place, that he must have done this. So she grabs Danny and takes him upstairs, and I don't remember, like, when she comes back down and, like, finds, like, his papers and
That's
stuff.
not until quite a bit later.
Okay, so...
But from there, we follow Jack into the gold ballroom, where he says he'd sell his soul for a goddamn glass of beer. And suddenly, there's a bartender there. Lloyd.
Oh, yes, Lloyd.
Best damn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine. Portland, Oregon, for that matter. I believe is the line.
Yes. So Jack, is chatting with. Is this when
That's later. That's
I
later.
don't remember what happens in between. So maybe we should do this.
Well, no, I think what happens is he sits down with Lloyd, the bartender.
Right, and has a drink.
And Lloyd
pours him a drink.
Pours him a drink.
And he talks about how he wouldn't hurt a hair on the kid's head. He loves him. Happened 3 goddamn years ago, and she'll never let him forget it. That bitch will never let him forget it. He's got a lot of animosity towards his wife, because she makes him feel bad about the fact that he hurts his kid when he's drunk. And at this point, I start thinking, well, she said 5 months, and he just said 3 years. How many times has he done this? So Jack has his drink. Then we go back to their living quarters where... does Wendy go looking for Jack? Wendy goes looking for Jack. Wendy finds Jack. There's someone else in the hotel. There's a crazy lady in one of the rooms.
Oh, right, because she said she talked to Danny, and Danny said that a crazy lady hurt him.
That a crazy lady tried to strangle him in one of the rooms. Jack says, which room? And heads to room 237 himself. And Jack enters room 237, which may be the largest hotel room I've ever seen.
Fancy suite.
It's a really big suite with some of the ugliest furnishings I think I've ever seen.
I disagree.
Oh, we can have a conversation about that.
I was going to say,
fun and so
I think
70s.
it's actually bigger than their suite.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Weirdly, like every large suite I've ever seen has a view, and this was entirely on the inside of the hotel.
This is true.
There was no windows in this.
Well, but to be fair, they were staying in the staff quarters, which is not going to be as nice as this penthouse suite, anyways. Like that, they were housed up where the.
I have to ask though, if you're the only person in the hotel, why are you not staying in the penthouse? Anyway,
because the staff quarters probably had like its own kitchen and stuff, and the penthouse didn't.
Right, I think living quarters were more...
was more like a house or an apartment, and not so much just a hotel.
I guess that's fair. Okay, all right.
They had like a fridge and a kitchen and stuff. He mentioned the
You're
tour
right.
guide.
It did actually have a kitchen in there,
Yeah.
though she still used the big kitchen.
Well, yeah, that's where all the food and shit is. But yeah, she finds him at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's when she's freaking out, and so he goes.
Oh, at this point, Danny reaches out to Dick Halloran.
Forgot about it. But I didn't know the timing of it. I do remember it happening.
So while Wendy's going to tell Jack about the crazy woman in the room, Danny's left alone in front of a TV because that's how you parent. And he starts shaking violently, and his eyes kind of roll up. And there's this high-pitched noise, and we cut to Dick Halloran sitting on his own in Florida, where he starts kind of reacting the same way as Danny's reaching out with visions of what's happened in the hotel to Dick, who's far away, because he knows that Dick can hear him. Now, I don't think that Dick knew that Danny was strong enough with The Shining to reach across the country to talk to him, and he definitely seems freaked out. He immediately picks up the phone, makes a phone call to the ranger station to see if they can check out how the family's doing up at the hotel. Then we get to Jack checking out the hotel room.
I'm going to talk about that scene.
We're going back here because the reason I queued this up, those are curtains.
Okay, see, I thought there was curtain behind the couch. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean...
It's just really...
All right.
So for the listening audience, we definitely did just queue up the film and go back to verify that there are, in fact, curtains in the room, so there probably are windows in the room. Oh, we're keeping this. We might slot this in somewhere else. But this is the kind of thing that's worth talking about because nobody thinks about it. Are there curtains in the room? Who knows?
Yes, there are curtains.
All right. So now we're back to this scene where Jack has just started coming in to room 237.
And the beautiful peacock carpet with the blue, purple, and green floor pattern.
And the pink purple couch.
Not sad about it. Not sad about it.
And then the miserable green tile bathroom. The green tile and orange trim bathroom.
Isn't that gold?
It's gross.
I don't hate it.
I
I
do.
think I would live there. Anyway, so we're back in this room, and Jack comes in to discover a woman in the bathtub who, is apparently taking a bath. Does not think to question it. It's just like, this is weird. Naked woman gets up and stands up and comes towards him
with the most stereotypical 70s bush.
Well, like you do.
Like they did.
Right.
It's great. So much.
And, I mean, Jack does what you do when you find a mysterious woman taking a bath in your abandoned hotel.
And walking towards you naked.
He just starts making out with her. Until she turns into a gross old rotting lady that he apparently doesn't want to make out with. Which, I mean, he clearly doesn't like his wife, and he's been holed up in this hotel for months. You'd think he'd still be into it, but he isn't. He backs away. She starts cackling.
Might be the first sane thing that we've seen him do.
Right.
So yeah, then obviously, there's some freaky stuff going on. He comes back and tells... Oh.
No, he comes back, and he pretends like none of that shit just happened.
Yeah, there was nothing there, he
There's
says.
Nothing there.
So Jack comes back, tells his family that there is nothing wrong in 237. He must have made it up. Well, what about the bruises on his neck? He must have done it to himself. Jack is in full-on denial mode. So Jack's denied that anything's in room 237. He did it to himself. Danny's having visions of what's going on. And this is when Jack goes back to the hotel room. Or goes back to the ballroom.
Okay.
So Jack leaves his wife, who is still panicking. We should note here that Shelley Duvall is panicking through 80 to 90% of this movie. She is not the strongest-willed of women to stay with her abusive husband who seems to hate the family. I
do want to talk about that later because it's such an interesting, relationship there. But
yes.
Moving on.
Yes. So Jack goes back to the pink and gold ballroom, and there's a full party in swing. Gets himself another drink, finds out his drinks are on the house. Well, he'd like to know who's paying for his drinks. That doesn't matter to him right now. That's not important right now. And then he gets bumped into by a waiter who spills some...
Advocat.
Yes.
Advocat.
Some advocat all over his jacket. And they rush off to a bathroom to make sure it doesn't stain. When Jack discovers that this waiter is actually Charles Grady, the former caretaker of the hotel who murdered his family there. And Grady informs Jack that his son is attempting to contact an outside party to bring him into the situation. and that he may need correcting, as he had to correct his family. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
we also find out from Grady that apparently Jack is the caretaker and has always been the caretaker.
Well, Jack, not confronts him, but kind of asks him, like, well, aren't you the caretaker here? Haven't you, you're the caretaker.
Yeah.
And then Grady's like, no, sir, I don't think that's right. Like, I'm just, whatever, not a butler.
Yeah. No, you're the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. So we cut back to Wendy and Danny. Danny isn't speaking anymore. Danny is no longer Danny.
Full on trauma.
Only Tony is talking to Wendy. And Wendy says, I need to... Danny, wake up. Danny isn't here right now, Mrs. Torrance.
No, you gotta do it full on, figuring everything. Do it. You gotta do it.
Danny isn't here right now, Mrs. Torrance.
Your middle finger.
It's audio. It's not video.
I know, it's funny.
So Danny has checked out. We only have Tony talking to Wendy, and we don't know how long it's been since Jack has been back to the room with the family. And Wendy's freaking out. Jack is doing who knows what, drinking, I guess, with Lloyd. Wendy goes looking for Jack. And this is when Wendy discovers what Jack's been working on for the 3 months that they've been up there. A stack of papers that just says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Which, again, is quite iconic for this film.
Absolutely. And as she's reading the work, Jack shows up right behind her and says, well, what do you think? Is clearly the cheese has slid off the cracker at this point. Wendy is smart enough to recognize the threat that is present-minded Jack and starts stepping away from him. She's holding a bat. She still thinks there's somebody else in the hotel, I think, at this point.
She had locked Danny in their quarters and had gone searching for this woman, she thought, originally.
I think it was for Jack.
She went searching for Jack.
Well, she was searching for whoever she thought had hurt Danny, I thought.
She just wanted to see where Jack was, but she didn't trust that they were alone in the hotel because she doesn't believe that Danny did this to himself.
That's why she was carrying the bat.
Right. So
she didn't go out with a bat for us.
No, but it was a good thing she had it.
Yeah.
So Jack asks her to give him the bat as she backs away and says she just wants to go back to the room. And she's swinging the bat in just the worst possible swings to try to keep him back. And eventually, we get some wonderful Jack Nicholson faces and lines here until eventually she connects and he goes falling down the stairs and ends up unconscious. And Wendy has the smartest thought to possibly ever go through her head. She drags him all the way to the pantry, which locks from the outside, and locks Jack in the pantry, and then says, I'm going to go call down the Sidewinder to get some help, and I'm going to take the Snowcat and drive him down to town.
Which, to be clear, we skipped over this. Snowcat is their only way out. That's the only thing they've got.
They're snowed in at this point. It's a month or so into winter.
But Jack has already disabled the radio, and he disabled the Snowcat.
So there's no way.
There's no way out. So Wendy and Danny are trapped. Jack is locked in the pantry, and we cut to Dick Halloran landing in the airport and getting a Snowcat from his buddy who runs a mechanic's place and heading up to the hotel.
In a big-ass storm.
There's no phones. There's no radio. There's no way out of the hotel. And help is coming, but can it get there fast enough? Well, Jack wakes up in this pantry to find Grady in there with him.
I thought it was Grady outside. The door.
Grady was talking through the door, yeah. To find Grady talking through the door. And Grady says, we're beginning to have doubts about your ability to handle this situation. Jack asks for one more chance. I think you'll have to deal with this in the harshest way possible. We're just not sure you're up for it. He says there's nothing that would please him more, or something along those lines. And Jack is released from the pantry.
Ghost let him out.
This is one of those, it's very interesting. We'll come back to this later. This is one of the few moments where the hotel takes physical agency, if you will.
Yeah. So now Jack is loose in the hotel. He picks up an axe and heads towards the living quarters where his wife and son are holed up. And Wendy locks them into the bathroom and shoves Danny out a window, but she can't fit. And Jack breaks down the door with an axe and sticks his face right up to the broken spot. This is the image everyone knows. Here's Johnny. Who the hell's Johnny? I would say that if you're born after 1995, you probably don't know. But it was Johnny Carson, and people actually did know who that was for many, many years. And you're young, and welcome to the podcast. Wendy somehow escapes the bathroom by...
No, what happens is that Jack gets distracted
because he hears the snowcat.
This is true.
He shows up and hears the snowcat through the open window. And so he leaves Wendy in there, and he goes to go deal with Dick. And that's when Wendy escapes, so to speak. But like she can actually leave because he's no longer on the other side of the door with an axe.
So now Jack is stalking the halls with his axe, looking like a complete freaking lunatic in the way that only Jack Nicholson and maybe Heath Ledger in one particular movie can. And poor Dick Halloran, who just flew however many miles and drove through the hellish storm
for hours and hours.
For hours and hours, walks into the hotel, and within 5 minutes, gets hit in the chest with an axe. In the first actual kill of this movie that occurs maybe 15 minutes before the end. Maybe even less.
But I do think it's funny, too, though, that Dick comes in and starts yelling for people to... like, hey, is anyone there? Is like,
well, he doesn't know what's going on.
He's just trying to find
Danny.
Danny.
He knows something's going on, or he wouldn't be there. So I do.
But Dick only thinks that it's something spiritual, something The Shining that Danny's experienced. Danny didn't send him. My dad's trying to kill me with an axe.
It's fair.
He didn't know at that point. Dick's been on this journey for a day and a half already.
Yeah.
So things do escalate quickly. It takes like 3 months of just weird tension to boil over to, oh yeah, I'm going to chop everybody up. And so Dick's dead. Wendy's running around the hotel. Danny has escaped out of the hotel. Danny's back in the hotel.
No, he had escaped. But he was hiding behind the snowcat.
No, he was in the hotel. He was hiding in the cabinet.
In the cabinet. In the hallway.
Yeah, he came back in after he escaped out the window. You're right.
And I think when Dick dies, Danny's hiding in the cabinet and he sees him die using The Shining. And then he gets out of the cabinet for some reason. And that's when Jack follows Danny out of the hotel.
Danny runs into the snow maze. Oh my god, we didn't talk about the hedge maze!
There is a hedge maze.
There is a giant hedge maze.
Which isn't in the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, they're topiary animals in the book. Yeah.
The hedge maze definitely.
The topiary animals eat people.
What? That's their spiritual superpower?
That's what happens in the book, yeah.
Who do they eat?
I don't recall, but I remember
There's
them
nobody
being...
else fucking there!
Like, moving topiary animals are the thing.
That's cool. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, there's a big hedge maze, and during all their idle time, Danny and Wendy have been all up over that thing. So they kind of know all of its...
But Jack's always too busy working.
Right. And so Danny runs into the maze. It's all covered in snow now. And Jack follows. He can see his tracks, so he's following his footsteps.
Still this giant storm, don't forget.
Yeah, there's still the storm.
This huge snowstorm assault.
And Danny proves to be the smartest character in the movie by backtracking through his own footsteps.
And then jumping into an alcove.
And then hiding in a dead end somewhere that crazy Jack walks right past. Mm-hmm. He waits until he goes far enough past, and then Danny books it out of this hedge maze. And connects up with Wendy, who has had a fairly harrowing experience getting out of the hotel herself. While Wendy's attempting to escape the hotel, she encounters the elevators full of blood that we'd seen flashes of before. She encounters spooky skeleton people in full party dress for some reason. And
well, she did also find Dick's corpse.
She did find Dick's corpse, and she screams and she runs and she's holding, is it the axe or a bat?
was a kitchen
I
knife.
think it was a kitchen
Still
knife.
the kitchen knife?
Still a kitchen
Yeah. She's well armed to scream at ghosts and do nothing there. And
But it makes a good image.
yes,
You
it
know?
is as iconic as any of Jack's faces. Shelley Duvall looking completely terrified, holding
Knife.
maybe the flimsiest looking piece of protection she could have had other than a sheet of paper. And she happens to step outside the hotel just in time for Danny to come running out of the maze, and they both hop into the snowcat and drive away.
Peace out.
No wondering if Dick came up with anybody else. No thought about taking Dick with him.
Nah.
Just leave poor Dick Halloran, poor Scatman Crothers left on the ground.
Pretty much.
And then the final shot that we get is Jack Torrance covered in snow, frozen solid in the maze.
That's the end.
The thread is over, or is it?
Well, yes, and then as part of the outro, we get to go ahead and see some photos on the wall of the hotel, including one of a party in 1921. And as we zoom in 4 times to make sure you really can't miss it, mind you.
That's funny.
Right in the middle is someone who looks just an awful lot.
Indeed. So there's the plot in only 37
I
minutes.
was like, that was
This
not
was
very
going to be a rapid
concise.
fire thing. We got a little in depth. I still think we did better than last time. We're going to keep it.
I think we told too many details, and then I never knew when to interject, like, oh, when do I talk about, like, the elevator or the snow?
Well, and now is when we can talk about all these things. So we have so many pieces here to discuss. Like, the one that first comes to mind, and it's not something that they used, but I feel like it's something that they could have used. The 237 thing, right? Like in a traditional horror movie, you have to have something that incites the spirit, right? So if the first thing that Danny had actually encountered in the hotel was when he opened room 237, if that's what let the spirits
He didn't
out,
open it.
exactly, and that's what I think should have played. I think it would have made more sense if Danny had sort of triggered this by opening the door. If he hadn't, then if you didn't have somebody to conduct it, then none of it happens. But it does
feels like victim blaming there, though. In the sense,
well, no, there isn't victim blaming, but there should be.
Because what I'm saying is this one works so well because it's not really any of their fault.
No.
I mean, except for maybe Jack because Jack. But, like, that's what makes, I think, this more interesting and terrifying because so many of them have that, like, oh, but it's your fault. And so
you shouldn't have blown out the black flame.
Right, or you should never,
flame candle.
or you should never
this.
picked up the random puzzle thing,
You
or
never used a Ouija board.
Don't read the Latin.
And so I actually think that works in its favor, is because so many of the other ones do it the other way, and this one instead, no man, it was just always going to be there.
I mean, this was so far before so many of these other tropes that we talk about that it has had a chance to do it. But I mean, in the way that we expect horror movies to operate, it sort of doesn't. Which it still works. It's just why. I'm left with a lot of why.
That was one of my questions too. Was like why is the hotel doing this? Like, is they just trying to collect guests? Like what?
Right. And what happened in the years between Grady and the Torrances?
What year was Grady again?
I don't know that they told us.
No, I thought he said it was in the 70s.
Yeah, I think they said the last caretaker, but does that mean they didn't have a caretaker for some years?
I don't know if it was the last caretaker. It was a previous caretaker.
Right. So if it doesn't pick every caretaker, how does it decide? By having something in there like somebody has to be sensitive to it, which maybe Jack had a bit of The Shining himself and just not as much.
Maybe Jack was just a dickhead with a bunch of negative energy, and they're like, oh, we can feed off of this fucker for a while.
There's definitely some of that going on. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Without a caretaker, or they had other caretakers
didn't go
crazy?
That's when, maybe. Like, that's when the last one.
It's got to be other caretakers.
Like, yeah, not all of them could go crazy. Otherwise, they would have shut this fucking place down. They couldn't,
Right.
They couldn't.
So this can't happen all the time.
Every caretaker, winter goes
a pattern
nuts.
would have emerged.
Right, and it can't be every 10 years. So this is why I'd like a why, because the things that make sense, I like there to be solid internal logic, but this movie is so good that it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't detract from it. The feeling that you get as you watch this movie, the tension that builds incessantly, is fantastic. And they do this without using many of the cheap tricks that we see now. It's just like, oh yeah, here's some gore. We're going to knock off somebody early so that you're hooked. Like, you're hooked because the sound design is amazing.
Yeah, I was
because
going to say the audio and the...
Jack Nicholson's faces.
But they don't, I was going to say, they don't even give jump scares.
No.
Like, they have a couple things with like, little girls.
The flashes to the little girl's dead early on is sort of jump scary. And they do things that have been turned into tropes, like that high-pitched sound that comes along with it has been used for ages through horror. But it's not, here's a noise you're supposed to be scared by. This is something scary, and we're associating it to a noise. This is building the shortcuts that people now use.
Yeah.
And without excessive gore, without showing you a lot of anything, you are frightened through most of this movie. And
yeah. So I had seen this movie before. Probably a couple times, but it had been a long time, like maybe high school, college time. And I was really nervous going to the theater because I'm kind of a baby. And I was like, oh man, like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it's going to be big screen. It's going to be in my face. Like, I don't know. And I remember it being scary. And I feel like I got that same feeling, but there was nothing that was really like horror frightening, but just all of it. You were just tense the whole time.
Right. There's no single image that's going to like haunt your dreams and make you wake up in a sweat. Like, it's not like, oh my god, that monster was so scary. It brings you into this situation so effectively that even though you're not trapped in the Overlook, you are trapped in the Overlook. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it a wonderful film, and not just, there's a scary... There's a reason that this is, by pretty much anybody that sees it, considered a classic. And there are many hours of documentary about all of the various depths that you can try to pull from it, because Kubrick was a real auteur director, and almost everything had meaning. So there are people that talk about how it's actually a story about the treatment of Native Americans or something during the westward expansion.
That does remind me. I think that was a tidbit they threw out early. Oh yes, it was built on a Native American grave.
Oh yeah.
Like, it never really comes up again.
So maybe that's our why.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's kind of
lots
hilarious.
and lots of angry spirits over time.
So I don't know. I hadn't seen it in so long that I barely remembered it, and I remember laughing a number of times in this movie just about like the faces and the way that like just Jack Nicholson's character, for whatever reason, is such a caricature almost.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, he is the like template for so many. I don't know.
Well, and like, he's not saying anything through most of this movie that would make him terrifying, but it's the looks he gives.
Oh,
it's the crazy grins and the eyebrows and the way they angle his head.
Those eyebrows.
His eyebrows were made for this.
And the camera angles.
The camera angles. And then the cadence of his voice. Like, he can say something fairly innocuous, but the way that he says it is so sharp. And we were lucky enough before this showing to see some little making of videos, because we did see this in theaters, which was great. I had never seen this in theaters before. Seeing it gigantic was really cool. But during one of these features, we just see Jack practicing a line. And he's saying it a few times in like his voice, trying to get the right tone for it. And you don't see that in the movie. You don't get to see him trying multiple takes, because what we see is frickin' perfect. And it's insane. And he's juxtaposed so strongly against Shelley Duvall, who is always like, her voice is kind of sing-songy to begin with, but she's, like I said previously, just always terrified and doesn't come across terribly strong, though we're shown through the movie that she's a much stronger character than she puts on most of the time. I mean, her escape gives her some backbone, but she takes so much shit from Jack and doesn't push back at all. Like, you want to take me for a walk? Well, I should really work. Motherfucker, you've been in here for 3 months. You can take me for a walk. You can step out of this room for a minute. She doesn't do that. She just takes it.
Part of that, though, remember, is the times. Remember, similar to the last one we watched, in the 70s, whatever, there was still a lot of that kind of subservient, like, nature.
Your parents were married in the 70s. Would your mother put up with that from your father? Because I know mine wouldn't. You have to choose to accept that in the 70s because we are moving further enough away. Right. This is something we talked about in We Are Still Here, where we had the two couples, the one that's adhering to that old 60s mindset and the one that's rebelling against it. The 70s are a time of flux. We just happen to encounter a couple here that is clearly dominated by crazy Jack Nicholson.
But also crazy Jack Nicholson with a bit of the patriarchy kind of like hitting in there. And like that's still very much the way that both of them, interestingly, see that, right? Because, again, if she didn't, she wouldn't stick around with them. Like, she would have done something about it. But I also think it's so interesting that she, aside from the survival, but, like, she also, again, was doing all of the work. Like, she was literally doing his entire job.
Yeah.
Including being, the mother, taking care of him. It's like, there's something there.
Yeah.
Even if, like, you kind of hate her because she's whiny and, like, whatever, but like at the same time, she is quite capable,
We're given lots of reasons to not think much of her, and it's not just in the lines that she's given or the way that she's given to act, but in the filming itself. Mm-hmm. There's a very early on when Wendy's talking to the doctor about Danny passing out. When that scene ends, it doesn't just cut at the end of a sentence. It fades out of Wendy as she's still talking and goes back to Jack having a conversation with Stuart Ullman. And they do that a couple of times through the movie. There's so much disrespect in that. To be like, oh yeah, we don't care what else you have to say. We're going to go somewhere else now.
But that's very good because that's like Jack's perspective of her.
Right.
Like that's how Jack
and that's giving the audience the same feeling through cinematography of it, which is... That's awesome. Yeah, I'm also pretty sure that Stanley Kubrick terrorized her throughout the course of this.
I read that too, yes.
To keep her in that state, which makes the performance that much more powerful. Like, you feel terrified because she feels terrified.
And, so messed up.
Yeah, it's.
I remember I enjoyed the behind the scenes as well. And one of the things that stood out to me too was the footage of Jack Nicholson like psyching himself up to go be axe murdery in like right before he's about to break down that door. And he's like, no, man, he looks like he's pretty insane. That's like, I know he's not even started filming, and he's just like getting a little nutty there. And you're like, holy shit.
He hadn't even been the Joker yet. That was years away.
This has to be the role that got him the Joker.
So good.
Holy cow. So good. Those eyebrows.
So I've pulled up a picture here that you guys can't see on the cast here of Jack Nicholson's son, Ray Nicholson, who has a role in the new Smile movie. And the first time I learned that he was in this, I was listening to a reviewer say, I can't believe they found an actor that looked so much like Jack Nicholson. It is actually his son.
That's fantastic.
And he full on has Jack Nicholson in The Shining face going on.
That's great.
It is a terrifying likeness in this particular picture.
So, do we know who the woman in 237 is? Or
no.
Okay, so she's just
we're never given details about any of this. We get some vague stories about things that happened in the hotel when it was in its heyday, but it's not like we hear a story about massacres happening.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I was curious because there's like all the ghosts in the ballroom, and then at the end there's like the pictures. So I was like kind of doing some research online afterwards because to see if there was like any significance to July 4th, 1921, which would have been about like 11 years after the hotel was built, in the story, anyways. Because I think what's his name said that it was like in 1909 or something like that, I believe.
I thought it was 1921 was when the photo was.
1921 is when the photo was. The Overlook Hotel was built in 1909.
I thought it was started in 07.
Started in 7, built and finished in 09. Yep. Is what he said. And then, so I was wondering, like, oh, is there something to, like, July 4th, 1921? But I guess it was just, just
was there a tragedy that happened there? Like, that would have, again, these are things that we expect from our horror movies, where you have some reason why.
I think it was just like, here was a 4th of July, a big reason to have a party, and
I mean, when Shelley
now
Ball's,
you're a part of it.
When Wendy is escaping the hotel and sees all the people in party dress that are dead in the chairs everywhere, did something happen there? We're never even given a hint of something happening there.
Right, because all the those people in the ballroom and the people in the 1921 photo were kind of in the same dress. It was very 20s style attire.
So my question to you is that, was this done intentionally because it's creepier not to know, or was this an oversight because Stephen King was on a lot of cocaine?
Well, the movie does not closely follow the book at all.
Okay.
The end of the book is completely different from the end of the movie. Many of the details are very different. I don't think that we can blame Stephen King for this.
Okay,
I
so
think
Stanley Kubrick then.
Stanley Kubrick's amount of cocaine intake could be part of it. I also don't think that it mattered for what he was trying to do with this movie. I think that we can say that what he was attempting to accomplish and what he accomplished probably fit.
Sure.
He wanted you to leave that unsettled, and most of the time you are.
Yeah.
The specifics would just get in the way, maybe.
Well,
it doesn't mean I don't want them as we review something like that. The critical side of me is like, yes, I want to know why, but
that's what I'm saying is that, like, when you think about a good ghost story, knowing why removes a lot of the terror. Or, you know what I mean? It removes that unsettlingness when you know why. And so I wonder, actually, if Kubrick did it on purpose.
I want to talk about this lady that's standing just behind. Like, how unfortunate is it to be any of the people in this Overlook Hotel photo from the end of this movie that are not Jack Nicholson? Mm-hmm. You've got people that have their eyes closed that are looking somewhere else. One guy blowing into a party blower. This dude, like, there's these other homely people that are on the screen here. They're
for all of you on the listening. You should pull up the photo from the end, the 1921 photo, in order to understand what Jeffrey's pointing at.
The July.
Yeah, yes, it's difficult to express this particular point via audio, but it's something I noticed because it was so big on the big screen.
Right.
The detail of these other people in this photograph who are clearly not the focal point. You are staring at Jack Nicholson, being surprised that he was there, 50 years ago, 60 years ago almost, because it's supposed to be. We don't know when exactly the movie is. We know when it came out, but it's late 70s
is my guess.
Yeah. And you can tell by the orange and brown everywhere. Can we talk about the deco of this film?
That's why I love it.
Oh, it's so gross.
No.
The clothes and the decor all the way through, except for at Scatman Crothers'
You don't
house.
like corduroy overalls? Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh.
Just the worst combinations.
No.
What was it?
Fantastic.
Red long johns with corduroy at the beginning? Come on, Wendy. Do better.
I'm just going to say, apparently the 70s were not your era, and you've only got to wait like another 5 years, and they're going to be back.
Oh, I'm just going to stay locked in my house. I can't do it.
You're going to have to grow that
fro. I can't do it.
You don't like
the repeated patterns, those blocky patterns and just awful colors. Like, everything's bland and orange and, like, just gross. I left this pea soup out too long. Green. And
it's like red rock colors. It was like the Colorado room.
If there was red in there, it would have been great. It's just brown and orange.
Red and orange and brown.
Grossness.
No, there's
and
red.
Pink and gold can go straight to hell.
Oh, pink and gold is like my favorite color.
Oh yeah, you and Wendy Torrance, yeah. Just don't go with John to any Colorado hotel vacations.
No,
it's going to end up badly. Yeah.
Okay.
John couldn't chase you through a hedge maze because he broke his leg.
I just want to go.
Arms, actually.
I want to note for y'all that Heidi and I, on our way home from this movie, we sat in the car and we're like, you know what? I know this is terrifying and all. I would really love to go ahead and be a winter caretaker in a hotel like this. Because I actually would love the solitude, and I'm not trying to be a writer.
But I only want to do it for 3 months. They were committed for
internet.
A long fucking time.
True.
They were there for
I don't know.
It was from October until March.
May.
It was May.
I was like, no, that's too long.
I mean, it's not. To spend 6 months not being around other people sounds perfectly fine to me, so long as I have internet.
I'm pretty sure you're not going to have internet in this case. You might have to be a caretaker elsewhere.
Well, these days we do have Starlink, and I have to say my Steam library is rather immense. I could just buy a large hard drive and be
fine. I could probably be fine. I have enough art. I just take the art projects and a bunch of Kindle books.
They might not be able to build roads up to that hotel, but I guarantee they've put internet up there at this point.
Oh, I'm sure that it has.
Interestingly,
it's actually in Oregon. That hotel.
Yeah, behind the scene stuff. The outside of that hotel and the inside of that hotel are not the same hotel.
Oh, funny.
So those outdoor shots, that whole thing that we follow up to, is a different hotel than the one that we see the interior of.
I think the hedge maze is someplace different.
Yeah,
too.
there is no hedge maze in any of the overhead shots, any of those aerials from the movie.
And that freaking thing looked gigantic. If you had to go off of like
13 tall.
Yeah, or if you're no, I just mean like the amount of square footage that it took up too,
Mm-hmm.
based off of like the map that was like in his office or the map that was like out in front of it. It just looked like endless. Or the little
the model they had,
So well, there was 3 different ones, and I think all 3 maps are different.
Yeah.
So,
but just keeps it spooky.
Yeah,
I don't know that I'd want to go into that without there being something in the center that's worth going to.
Other than a bunch of arches and benches?
Yeah. I mean, you need the bench because you just spent an hour and a half trying to find the middle of this damn maze.
I have an interesting bit of trivia. When I was looking up elevator pictures to do my cosplay for the movie,
you need to explain.
I use cosplay really loosely because I dressed as the bloody elevator and I basically wore a red shirt and tan pants. that was it.
And a jacket, which was the important part.
Yes. I had a jacket that I pulled apart that looked like the doors opening. Like, so.
Now, the pedant in me wants to point out that the blood came from the outside of the door, so you really should have been wearing a tank top and pulled it in.
You know what? Not doing it. So
I told you it was pedantry.
So I found an interesting bit of trivia about the elevator, and so I guess apparently in the time that this movie came out, you were not allowed to have scenes with blood in your movie trailers. And so Kubrick, to get around that, told the cable companies or whatever that it was rusty elevator water. It was like rusty water, so that he could have those shots in the commercials for the movie.
I mean, they never really confirmed it. All I know is it was gross and not happy.
So
and would have left that hallway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
regardless as to what it was.
That's the real horror, is like what that was like afterwards. Like, who had to clean that up, or did they just like burn that set?
I hope they actually did that in that hotel.
Like, because I guess it could have been like a miniature or something. But, like, I was like, there's the special effects at the time were not good enough to like.
Yeah, no, it's
definitely not CG.
Yeah, so it was not a thing. So that was real water coming out of somewhere.
That's actually worth talking about. There wasn't CG. All the effects in this have to be done through either camera trickery or practical. So there isn't anything in here that's over the top visually. You get these cut-ins of Danny seeing the slaughtered girls in the hallway when he's seeing them say they want to play with him forever and ever and ever. And it's just splicing in one thing versus another, and there's a simplicity to that. There's a cleanliness to it that is, these days they wouldn't bother. They just CG some nonsense, and it would look like rubber people, and we'd all be worse off for it. I think that a lot of times the shortcuts that people take because they're given these tools are to the detriment of the product they're attempting to make. I could pull up countless examples from the movies I've watched this year, because a lot of the direct that I watch is cursed by laziness. There's nothing lazy about the making of The Shining. I think everybody involved here was working their ass off. We saw it in the behind-the-scenes stuff. They were redoing scripts daily. They weren't even using printed scripts because whatever was typed up the night before, they were going to go off of that. Because all the time they were adjusting what this movie was going to be.
Yeah.
And that kind of dedication to it shows.
What was the other part that we skipped over? The fascination with Dick's room in Florida.
Oh yes, I meant to get there when we were talking about decor. The only room that wasn't horribly decorated.
I mean, maybe it was, but very
Do you
different.
have some of those?
I don't know how I have seen this movie dozens of times, and I somehow never noticed that in Dick Halloran's home in Florida, I think it's his home.
Yeah, probably his house.
It's probably where he lives in the off season.
Yeah.
In his home in Florida, he has very large. Were they oil paintings or photographs of?
I think they were
naked women with very large afros posing on not just the wall that's directly above his television where he's laying with his feet out when they first show him. But also behind him, just really big naked lady paintings with huge afros.
They were beautiful.
They were pretty fantastic. I do not know how I've never seen them. Like, you'd think that'd be something that would register, and it did not until it was 30 feet across. Oh.
Hey, girl.
Wow.
I mean, I feel like it was material to the scene, so I also don't know. And that's what makes me think I don't think I've ever seen it before that time. And it's entirely, it's like, I feel like I would have remembered that.
You'd think you would, and yet I never did.
I mean,
so, that's something else that was funny when we were in the theater, is that they were showing trailers or like previews, commercials for the movie from the time that it aired, like back in the 80s. But it was like it was being aired on television.
Yeah,
How the hell did they
Friday
cut
night
that?
movie
Or did
of the
they
week.
like just not care? It was like not what
it had to
now.
be so heavily edited.
Yeah,
Like,
I would guess.
not just because, I mean, there aren't, as we said, there aren't a ton of scenes that are overly graphic, but there is some other stuff in there that they probably cut out.
Well, there's
and
nudity and stuff they would have had to cut
some
out.
nudity they had to cut out. But if you cut that out, how do you show those scenes? Like, the terrifying scenes are, you know, Jack is with the naked lady in the room, and how do you can't show that? It's the elevator of blood erupting, and it's it's one thing to just show the girls and come play with us, but you know, you can't show the girls on screen. So you got to cut around that. And I was talking about boobs, John. You look confused.
I'm glad you explained it. This is very important.
I just didn't want to make sure that you weren't getting them confused.
Look, someone said I talked down to you in the last one of these. We did. I had to do it again.
And that thus defines our relationship for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Why is the whiskey gone?
Because we drank it.
Me. Next question.
All right, what else do we need to hit on? This might take me a week to edit. I'm not going to lie. This is so much
all
longer
over the
than...
place.
It's so much longer than the wrap-ups that I do.
I mean, really, seeing Kubrick underneath, like, looking straight up,
cool.
and, like, yeah, the direction to Jack of, like, what if you look down? Well, I'm down here. Like, like, no, it works. It very much worked. It's very, very creepy.
Well, and the shots throughout it, I guess we could spend some time on the cinematography. We touched on this in the last episode. Like, the shots within the hotel, you get a lot of these great shots where there's a person that's kind of small in the middle of this expansive shot of this room, and then you get a very close-up claustrophobic shot of Jack's face doing craziness. Yeah. And then you get these big, wide spaces to just show you how imposing and how big this hotel is. It makes it its own character. So, yeah, there are 3 people there, but there's another whole character that is the hotel itself. And like we talked about how big that hedge maze is supposed to be, all of this is this massive, imposing place. Wendy says she's never been in a place so big before. And
I have to say, watching the, like, camera follow Danny as he fucking motors through this hotel hallways, like, it's both fascinating and claustrophobic at the same time. Because, like, the walls are still close.
Right,
like,
and you're fixed right behind it. You're in that big wheel go.
You're at big wheel level.
But as a 6-year-old, I'm sure it seemed massive. But as an adult, that perspective is honestly super creepy. And, like, I don't like it, friends. I would not enjoy that in my current state of mind.
I wouldn't either, but mostly because the carpet is hideous.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's not great, but except for that suite, except for room 237.
Okay, we do need to point out the best piece of costuming in the entire film. Danny's Apollo 11 sweater.
Oh my gosh, I want that sweater!
I think we should all want that sweater. It's a fantastic sweater.
Great.
Every other piece of clothing from this should be
burned. I was like,
burned.
oh my god, I want that sweater.
Yeah.
So great.
That just means you're sane. That's a fantastic sweater.
How do they not make this? They have to make this.
I'm sure somebody makes it. It's got to be a Halloween costume somewhere.
Oh, please. So Etsy makes a very nice replica of the Apollo 11 sweater.
Hold on, let's pull up the real one.
There's some shitty ones, like shitty printed ones you can find on like Walmart and shit. Fuck yeah,
How do you
layers.
look at that and not see disgusting?
Layers.
The carpet, the red doored elevators. This shit.
I love it. I don't love those colors, but I love the Art Deco, I love the Deco, shape of it, and I like I don't know, I like it.
I mean, they sell this overlook carpet everywhere.
You should put that in here.
All work.
No.
Play.
For soundproof.
I live in here. We didn't talk about red rum.
We didn't talk about red rum.
We didn't talk about red rum.
That's
which
iconic.
It's iconic and also the stupidest fucking thing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just write murder? And also, what is putting the word murder on the wall going to do to help this situation? How does red rum do it?
Murder is a warning.
Is it?
Yeah.
It doesn't make a ton of sense. It would have made sense if, Danny had seen it while looking at a mirror.
Total creepy.
But he didn't. He just wrote it so that when she looked at a mirror, it would make... Why wouldn't you just write it on the wall? Why are you saying red rum? I mean, yeah, it's creepy as fuck. But it doesn't make any sense.
Because Tony's not going to make him write murder. That's scary.
Why not?
Because that's
Tony
scary.
showed him the blood coming out of the elevator and put the kid into a coma.
Trying to warn him.
And furthermore,
never got any resolution because he fucking went home with Tony.
Yeah, no, and that's why they made a sequel.
Oh, was that shit?
Dr. Sleep, which came out nearly 40 years later as a novel. 2013, the novel was released, and in 2019, I think they released a movie of Dr. Sleep. I can't say that I've read it, and I don't think I watched all of it, because I don't need a sequel.
But it was a direct,
to The Shining, but it's a direct sequel to The Shining. Also,
it was about Tony. Or sorry, not Tony, but Danny.
It's about Danny, yeah. And
what's it called? Dr. what?
Dr. Sleep.
Did Stephen King write it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's that.
But remember, the novel is nothing like the movie.
I guess that's fair.
Now I'm really curious to read the novel.
Both of them.
Well, mostly because, Stephen King's movies are generally bad unless they happen to be dramas.
Yeah, the prison movies are good, but many of his movies are unfortunate. Sleepwalkers and the like. There are some wins.
Books. Don't get me wrong; they are very entertaining books, but they don't translate to the screen right.
Many of them
drama,
yeah.
Like Shawshank and Green Mile. Amazing.
Fantastic.
So those are
Needful Things is still good.
Okay.
Because when they don't go full monster on it, it's okay. When they do try to bring these monsters that he creates into life, it tends to end worse.
Did he even make a Gunslinger movie?
They did make a Dark Tower movie.
Was it good?
No. Because they tried to do the entire thing in one movie with Idris Elba.
God.
I'm sorry, that's 7 fucking books.
It was a mistake.
Why do that?
They just put out a new Salem's Lot movie.
Oh, good.
Almost. I liked the first half. It was right away it hooked me. It felt like a Stephen King movie, or like a Stephen King book rather. Yeah. But they really rushed it, and I don't say this a lot because I think that often they drag these movies out to be too long to make them 3 at a time. Like The Hobbit, which is a tiny book that turned into 3 movies. This should have been a miniseries. They should have given these characters all time to develop. They start to develop a couple of characters, and then things progress really quickly to get to the end. And that rushing stops it from being great. But the feeling from the start of this movie I thought was really good. They did do a miniseries of The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this is. So in, 1997, they did a 3-part TV miniseries of The Shining. And it much more closely followed the book.
It was clearly not as good.
And was nowhere near as good, yeah. It was, compared to the movie that had already come, absolute trash. So Steven Weber stars as Jack Torrance in the Shining miniseries from 97. Tim Daly stars as the main character in Storm of the Century, another Stephen King miniseries. They starred together in a long-running sitcom called Wings as brothers.
Oh.
And it amuses me that they both ended up as the center of a Stephen King miniseries from the 90s.
All right.
All right, so that was our take on The Shining. Hopefully it was comprehensive enough.
Hopefully Jeffrey's editing will make it comprehensive.
That'd be comprehensible. It's not going to be that. We'll do our best. All right, you guys want to say goodbye?
This is fun. I look forward to next time. It's always fun in October to go through these movies with people I love. So,
Oh,
here
John,
we are.
you're not off the hook when October's done. We're going to do these all year.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I actually look
Absolutely.
forward to it.
Right.
So it's actually fun. So.
All right. Happy spooky season. Bye, witches.